What up, everybody? It's the Build Different podcast. This is probably a favorite time of year, Sean, right? Sports-wise, NFL draft. Like, love the game of football, love, all these different sports, but something about the draft and team building we always talk about is super exciting. Especially, like, I guess for us as well, teams that didn't win the Super Bowl, and even the teams that won the Super Bowl, it's like building blocks that you're able to add to your team that's going to get you to that next level. So it's like off season, so it's like some form of excitement about football. So that being said, we wanted to do our own mock draft. I've never publicized one, but Sean and I talk about it all the time. So I think it'd be fun for us to lay our version and see what we get right, what we don't get right on draft night.
Yeah, and I think, this year is especially exciting because there's a lot of quarterbacks expected to be taken up at the
Yeah.
top, very quarterback friendly draft. And usually when that happens too, a lot of quarterbacks taken at the top, that means talent falls down to people who don't need a quarterback. So, it'll be interesting to see where some of these top guys go that, aren't quarterbacks, and interesting to see which teams are going to take a quarterback. So, yeah, it should be a fun draft this year.
Yeah, and for our mock, we'll be using which simulator?
We're gonna be using Pro Football Network. So
Yeah, it's funny because I remember using FanSpeak was the only one years ago, and then Draft Network, but a lot of different draft simulators. I use them all every now and then to play around and kind of guesstimate what my Bucks are going to do. Anyhow, ready to get started, show?
yeah, first overall, we've got the Chicago Bears. Um, I don't think this is a difficult one. Knows who they're taking here. Um, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and they've already built around him already and set him up for success more so than they did for their previous quarterback, which is a damn shame. But everybody knows this is going to be Caleb Williams. I don't think. No way, it's not.
Yeah, I think they definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. They definitely set up, that pick. Like before that, there was a question because Justin Fields was still there, but once they traded Justin Fields, that was a lock.
So Caleb Williams goes number one.
And this is where it gets exciting. This is where things start, moving a little bit.
Yeah.
Potentially some different pick people. Who you've got going number two to the Commanders?
You know what? People always talk about is this a trade spot? I don't see Washington trading out of this spot. They need a quarterback. They've needed a quarterback.
Report came out earlier today that they're not looking to trade it. They're going to stay put.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm leaning to Jaden Daniels. What do you think here?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I think um, while I see the potential of Drake May and I see why he might be viewed by some people as above Jaden Daniels, I think for a team like Washington, I think they go with the more traditional, safer guy. The guy, they'll come out in Carolina, or the last two haven't really worked out super well. One of them is on the Commanders still, Sam Howell. I see them going Jaden Daniels here.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think Jaden Daniels, dynamic guy that can do it with his legs and his arms. It's funny because for a while it was Drake May at that position, the number two guy behind Caleb Williams, but Jaden Daniels through the process just I think he overtook him. So this is where it really gets interesting. Number three.
I mean, I don't know if we're doing trades in this particular mock draft. I definitely see this as a pick that could be traded. I think there's some teams that want to move up
Mhm.
and take a quarterback, and I think New England's one of those teams that, even though they need a quarterback, might be okay with moving around a little bit and getting some more draft capital.
Who do they have now? Bailey Zapp still is that there?
I believe he is their starting quarterback right now. Mac Jones anymore.
I mean, Gerard Mayo, I think new coach. If it was the Belichick regime, I would probably think that Belichick regime, I would think that they might skip a quarterback here, but I think a new head coach needs to leave his mark on the team. Set his. I think they go quarterback. Like you're not going to have another. You may not have another opportunity to be this high up in the draft and in this good of a QB draft. I think they've got to go quarterback here. The question is which quarterback.
They do have Jacoby Brissett. They signed him this offseason. So, but
Yeah.
I think me and you probably both agree that Jacoby Brissett has been a solid, backup slash kind of bridge quarterback for some teams, but he's not going to be their long-term option, unless he has a significant change to his career path. I would. Were you saying Drake May here?
I think so. I think people will say J.J. McCarthy, but I think Drake May gets the phone call here from the Patriots.
I agree with that pick.
The Cardinals. Did you want to do trades here, or did because the trade situation could get a little wonky.
I say we stick to the original 32. So, um,
What we think each team should do and will do,
yeah,
probably will do.
we
Yeah.
can discuss trade. We can slate a trade up, trade down. But I say for the sake of this, just stick with who we have picking where. For number 4, Arizona. I think this is probably the closest to a lock of a pick if there is one. Um, I think it's Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's the best wide receiver in this draft. Obviously, his dad was a great player for a long time. He was a great player at Ohio State. I think this is a pretty easy pick.
Do you think that Malik Neighbors is getting a lot more love now and being more maybe a little bit more dynamic of a receiver? Do you think there's a shot for him to go here, or you think it's you know Kyler Murray had Hopkins for a while, big body receiver, and you have Marvin Harrison Jr. a little bit bigger receiver, big frame type of guy. You see it being Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
I mean, I think Malik Neighbors is a great receiver. I don't think he's going to be on the board long after this. But I think if you look at the two of them, and just look at what Marvin Harrison did in college, and how he projects to do in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
I think uh, he's the pick here.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Um, Number 5, the Los Angeles Chargers. I was about to say San Diego Chargers, and they're
It
not in
still,
San Diego anymore.
it still hits that way for me too. Um, they lost a lot of receiver talent there. Um, do you think this is a position where they go a Malik Neighbors, or do you think is there something else that they need on that team?
I think they need a wide receiver. You look at the receivers they have. There's no one really in that offense that has done more than been a wide receiver 3, if that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have this high of a pick. I see them as a potential candidate to trade out of this pick, if they want to, but you have an opportunity to get Malik Neighbors, who like you were just saying, great receiver, could be the top wide receiver in a different draft. Just happens to be in the same draft as Marvin Harrison Jr., who some people view as a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
I think you go and you take the talent with Malik Neighbors, and give Justin Herbert a reliable wide receiver 1, and then hopefully some of those younger guys they have in that room can step up into like a wide receiver 2 role, which I think is more realistic.
Yeah, I would go Neighbors here as well. They could also go. They could get crazy and get a Brock Bowers, like a playmaking tight end, but they need some receivers. They've lost too much, and new coach Harbaugh there. He's gonna need, he needs somebody to throw to. So it has to be Malik Neighbors here, I would believe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Brock Bowers here. I think he's one of the most talented players in this draft, by a lot. But it's just the way the board kind of folds. It seems like he's kind of a likely candidate to have a little bit of a fall, despite the talent. Maybe people
Yeah,
are scared off by the Kyle Pitts pick a few years ago, and he hasn't really lived up to the expectations. I don't know, but I agree with you. I think Neighbors is the pick, but I wouldn't be like I think Brock Bowers would be a reasonable pick there. Um, Number 6, the Giants. Um,
Do you go QB here? Do you go McCarthy? Try that out, or do you get some help for Daniel Jones here because they lost a you wouldn't go running back this early, but they need just some offensive talent, some wide receivers. They've been devoid of wide receivers for quite a while now, quite a couple of years. They probably need some defensive tackle helps. They could use a cornerback. They could use a number of things. The Giants need kind of rebuild mode now.
yeah, this is a weird pick because, they just signed Daniel Jones to that 40 million a year deal, and now there's a lot of questions about whether they think that he can be that guy for them. And you don't get a top 5, top 6 pick all that often, especially in a draft class that's got 4 pretty good quarterbacks, one still being there, JJ McCarthy. Um, I I personally think that they're going to go there. I think, do I think they could go Romeo Dunes? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. For some reason, they've drafted, despite people saying like, oh, they need to invest in the wide receiver position. They have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they drafted a guy, Wan'Dale Robinson last year. A few years before that, they drafted Kadarius Toney. They've drafted a bunch of high wide receivers, and they even signed. The Kenny Galladay signing obviously didn't work out. That was pretty brutal
Yeah.
signing, but um, I don't know. I think they stay away from wide receiver. If I had to make the pick for them, I think they go with JJ. I think, I don't think they fully believe in Daniel Jones. And if you got JJ McCarthy there, I think they take it.
Yeah, the other side of Daniel Jones is the injuries. It seems like every year he gets hurt at some point, and I think did he have a neck injury recently?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's a tough injury to come back from, having a neck injury like that. I think, and it's kind of been not like, something like a ankle injury or something like that. Like those heal, but the neck and back injuries, those can be scary because, you get hit too many times on the neck and back, and you end up, not walking right and things like that. And so I think that they protect, the most important position of any football team, which is quarterback. I think they go and they get JJ just in case, anything happens to Daniel Jones, and they make it into a quarterback competition.
Yeah, it's tough when you have a team where you need so many different things, and you have so much capital, you know, financial capital, you know, delved out to quarterback. Um, yeah, I would tend to agree with you here. They might do this. Yeah, how not? I was gonna say how. When will you know you'll be this high up in the draft again? With the Giants, probably will be next year again, unfortunately. But when is it going to be this much talent at in a position that they may end up in the top 10 of the draft? So might be JJ McCarthy season here.
Okay.
This also could be a place, even a place to trade candidate. I know the Vikings allegedly have eyes for McCarthy, so who knows? They maybe pick up that capital,
I
draft
I
capital there.
100% agree. I think, a team like the Giants has a lot of needs. I wouldn't be surprised if they were trading back there. I think,
Mm-hmm.
the Vikings, like you said, definitely a candidate to trade up. Um, I think there's a few other teams that might be looking to trade up there. So yeah, I think for the sake of this, since we're not doing any trades, I think if the Giants were to stay, JJ's the pick there. But I would not be surprised at all if it played out the way
Mm-hmm.
you're saying and they end up trading out of there. Um,
If Malik Neighbors fell, do you think that they would just select him as a target for Daniel Jones
I
as
do.
opposed to
I think I think you've got, 6
yeah.
guys that are going in the first 6 picks, and I think it's 4 quarterbacks and the 2 wide receivers. I think the Giants don't let Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. pass them at number 6, unless they trade back, obviously. So
Mm-hmm.
I also wouldn't be surprised if
I
someone
agree.
traded up to either of the 2 picks before them to get that fourth quarterback, and you know, then one of those wide receivers falls and they take the wide receiver. So, um,
Yeah, because the Giants could effectively jump up and then, well, yeah, they could jump up potentially, and then one of the Chargers or the Arizona Cardinals not too far of a drop. They can get some extra draft capital and maybe still land the
yeah,
receiver. You know
those
what I mean?
those 3 teams in a row is 3 teams that could kind of use wide receivers, but I feel like in this draft, I do think Jones
Mm-hmm.
is good, but I think Neighbors and Marvin Harrison are just, a different level above. It's like those two, and then O'Dunes, and then, everyone else after that. Um, so, but moving on to pick number 7.
Yeah,
I think this is a really easy one. I think I've seen it in pretty much every mock that I've looked at. Yeah, they're
yeah.
going Joe Alt. He's, from Notre
Joe
Dame.
Alt.
Notre Dame has a history of uh, putting out really good offensive linemen, and they need an offensive tackle. It's pretty, you know, pretty much a given to me that that's the pick there.
Yeah, this one obviously a division rival for me. The Falcons here. Um, I don't know why I keep thinking why I keep seeing Dallas Turner here. Um, I mean, they need a number of things. They need quarterback. They need offensive tackle, defensive tackle. What I see Dallas Turner here, or I see potential like the offensive tackle up there, Bashana. I don't know. How do
I
you
could
feel about
see
this one?
either option. I could see cornerback also. I know they have, I want to say AJ Terrell is their top guy, but having another guy kind of to put on the other side. We've seen a lot of teams are kind of
Mm-hmm.
doing that now, trying to stack two high end cornerbacks on each, like one on each side. I think Dallas Turner's yeah. I think, if you look at the
As they should.
Falcons, their weakest part of their defense was definitely their pass rush. So I think, if you're going based on need, and
Mhm.
and Dallas Turner, I think, is the best, viewed as most likely the best pass rusher in this draft. I would say that he's probably a pretty safe pick to go here. I would, if that's the pick that you're
Mhm.
good with, I think that would be my pick here for the Falcons.
Goodwood as a Bucks fan, but I understand it.
Pick number 9, yeah, Chicago, back on the board.
Doubling up here.
I think this is a pretty reasonable pick too. I think I don't know if I agree with everyone who's saying that, they need a third wide receiver, but it sounds like they want to go with a third wide receiver. So
Yeah, that's. I mean, they're really. How's their offensive line? I haven't really paid attention to the Bears because like that's the other side of a young quarterback. Is not you want to protect him first and
they've
foremost, even
invested some
before the
money into
weapons.
it. They have,
Um,
they've had good cap space the past few years. So I think their offensive line is decent. I don't know if I would say it's, top tier, but definitely not bad. According to this, it's not really a need, maybe a center, but I would say this is too early to go for any, you know, center or even an interior offensive lineman. I know some of these guys that are
yeah,
viewed as offensive tackles can also uh, play um, play on the inside, but I would say that they're going a different direction. Um, I don't know.
that's what I've seemed to hear. Obviously, I'm not Mel Kiper with the sources or Daniel Jeremiah with the sources or anything, but it seems like everything I hear is like they wanted like they'd be enthralled if they could land Malik Neighbors. So the next thing would be the Rome. Um, you know,
I've heard, some people say, potentially go edge here. You got uh Laia,
Laiatu Latu. Laiatu Latu.
yes, you know, um he, I've heard great things about him. I could see him going here. Jared Verse from Florida State, another guy. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Those guys seem like they'd be more fitting a need, but um,
Chicago.
I don't know. It sounds like they really want to go wide receiver and just, have a kind of do the mold of what some of these teams are doing, stack the offense and just try to outscore the other team. And you got the new quarterback, you got Keenan Allen first year. They've got two tight ends, so I don't think they look at Bowers too long, like at all.
And shout out to the Carolina Panthers too for. I mean, just last year, just screwed everything up and took the wrong quarterback. It looks like so far as of last year. Who knows? It's looking like that might be the thing. I hope not to. I don't want to shit on Bryce Young or anything, but he is a division rival. But and then they give up the pick. They would have had this pick, the number one pick for again, but who knows, man? Who knows? But thank you to the Panthers for that. So no, I agree. I go Rome here because it seems like they're all in on trying to help their young quarterback. This one here to me is obvious. I think they need offensive tackle help, especially with Aaron Rodgers coming up. They lose the big boy on the right tackle.
They did, I believe he's still a free agent, hasn't signed anywhere yet. Um, I think I agree with you. I've heard some people say they want to go wide receiver here. I think there's a pretty steep drop off after the top three. There's some other guys that I think go in the first round, but at the 10 pick, I think they go with Fashanu from Penn State.
I think so too. If Rome was still there, maybe, but in this instance, I think they go on tackle.
Okay, Minnesota.
This is where we thought they might, yeah, you thought they would want to move up for a quarterback here because right now it's what Sam
It
Darnold.
is currently Sam Darnold, yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to get it.
Uh,
That's not going to get it done. Um,
it'd be interesting. I mean,
what are you thinking there?
I think a quarterback could still go here. I think it's more likely that they move up into five and take one of those four guys. But if their offer
Mm-hmm.
is good enough and they end up staying here, I could see I out of the next two. The next two is pretty much between
Michael Penix.
Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. I think Penix Jr., I like the fact that he, competed um, in the college football playoff. Injuries is a concern with him. But he's, to me, he's shown out a lot in the draft process. And he's kind of, been a guy who's really made an effort to kind of get his name talked about a little bit more up with the other guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they went. I think they definitely go quarterback here, or in the first round at least. And I think he's.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like he's moved up draft boards. He's been doing his thing. Like well polished. He seems to love the game of football. The injuries are a concern. Um, they're desperate for quarterback help though. So I could see them maybe trade him back and trying to pick him up. If they're not able to trade up, maybe trade back and see if they could get Michael Penix. Um, Denver too is like they need a quarterback. It's a tough spot. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you look at Denver, you look at Vegas. Um, there's. I would say the rest of those teams are probably not looking for a quarterback just yet, but
the Saints should
there's
be.
two teams right behind them that could be using a quarterback in the near future. So, yeah, I know they have pick 17 or what was the other pick they have? 23.
23.
So could they wait and try to take a quarterback there? Yeah, I think if they like one of the two between Penix and Nix, I think they go with the one they like. But if they kind of don't have a preference between the two, then maybe they wait till 23. I mean, if they don't go quarterback, do you see another position that maybe you would think they go here?
Um, didn't they lose some beef in the middle at defensive tackle? I think. What did they lose this offseason?
I believe so. Um, let's see. Where is soda? Yeah. I think they did lose somebody from their pass rush. Was it did they lose Danielle Hunter or no? Is he?
I thought Danielle Hunter went somewhere else. Yeah, I think he may have. Um, I don't know. Maybe they go. Maybe they do go Michael Penix here. I mean, you think it's too early? Like,
I think it's earlier than he should go, but I would say that quarterbacks typically go earlier than they should go. So, do I think that he's worth the 11th pick? Probably not. But, you know, uh, I think, when you need that, again, quarterback is the most important position on the field. So you got to take him and not lose out. You don't want to lose out and end up with a guy, end up rebuilding for another 2 seasons because you can't find the guy that you want.
because Denver, because like you said, the next two teams could be in the running to try and get him.
Yeah, so I think the pick here is quarterback, and I think Penix is the best out of him and Nix.
Okay, I can.
Let's see.
I think honestly they try to trade up. Realistically, if we had trades, I would trade them up. But since we can't, I think they would be the best thing on the board.
Okay, now we got Denver. They just traded for Zach Wilson. Is Zach Wilson their guy?
I don't. I don't think so.
No.
They got rid of one Wilson, got in another Wilson. I don't think it's going to be on the team. Well, hopefully, freezing cold takes doesn't get us here. But
I think if I
um,
oh go ahead.
no, go ahead. I think you're going to say what I was going to say.
I think they take whoever Minnesota doesn't take here. If there's if if the first five are taken, I think they take Bo next year at 6. Or the 6th one.
Okay. Bo Nix is such it sounds like a movie quarterback name, doesn't it?
I think it's
Bo Nix out of Western Tennessee State.
I think it's because of what's it called? The movie Draft Day,
Oh, Callahan on
Yeah, it's just
draft
the
day.
same vibe to it.
Bo Callahan.
Okay, now we've got Oakland, or not Oakland, Vegas. The Raiders.
Vegas, yeah. Still do the same thing too. What? I mean, they need a quarterback like nobody's business.
They
Um,
do, but I really don't think they take one. For some reason they seem comfortable with going through this year with who they have. I don't know why, but
who's their quarterback again? I forget. I'm just trying to think of it. Who's
they're
they got rid of Jimmy G, right?
yeah.
They released him.
Let's see. They're
Isn't it? Oh, they got Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, they got Gardner Minshew, and they have the guy Aiden O'Connell, who they drafted in the 4th round last year. He started a few games for them. Um, they seem to be okay with going into this season with those two guys. Do I think that's a smart move? No, but as far as us trying to pick for them, I think they stay away from quarterback, especially now that you've got those 6 guys gone. I think the next guy after that's not worth a 1st round pick. So.
They picked up Christian Wilkinson. I think they lost Josh Jacobs. That's a decent loss. Um, they did pick up another defensive tackle. They picked up Madison from Minnesota, right? Madison's from Minnesota.
Alexander Mass, I believe so.
Wasn't Madison from Minnesota? I think the backup to um they need everything. That's the problem with the Raiders. What's like the top thing on the board here?
Top player.
I feel like God rest his soul. If Al Davis was still alive, he would take Brock Bowers in.
Really, I think he.
No, Al Davis would do something crazy. He'd get the speedy wide receiver, the guy that broke John Ross's record.
I think if the Raiders, I mean, I love Brock Bowers. I think him falling all the way to 13 is already too far. But I mean, Raiders took a tight end last year. It's
I
like,
think,
do they really double up on that?
yeah, they picked one up in the offseason as well.
So I think they go either.
No, they didn't pick one up. Yeah, they picked up Harrison Bryant.
So I think they go
Cornerback.
either cornerback here or offensive tackle.
They lost John Jenkins. They picked up Bilal Nickel, or no, Jermaine Elliman, or I don't know why Tyrion Arnold just speaks Raiders to me. I don't know. I feel like they pick him up as their cornerback.
Yeah, I could see it. They have some pretty you know, unknown guys right now at the cornerback position. I could see them going that way. Um, Saints, another division rival for
The
you.
Saints. I would say they would probably go edge, but they picked up Chase Young. Um, yeah, I hopefully they take like the worst player here because Saints got. Um, I don't know. They lost Michael Thomas. Do you think they stretch for a wide receiver here, or and then I think they lost offensive tackle as well, didn't they?
Um, this,
Or their offensive tackles always seem to be hurt to me. I don't know, or their line seems
yeah,
to be
I mean
all
they
hurt.
lost
They really didn't lose many players from their team.
surprisingly based on how they're always in like
Cap hell.
cap hell. They seem to never lose that many players.
I don't know what's going on over there. Those are the restructure kings, man. The restructure kings and the kick the can down the road kings, man. It's gonna come back and bite them in the ass at some point. Well, it kind of already has.
I could see them
Not as
going,
good as they were.
offensive line here, potentially getting a tackle. Um,
Yeah.
Fuaga seems like a potential pick.
You think they go with
Or Troy.
Fautino?
Yeah,
Troy
Fatanao.
Fautino or Fuaga?
I mean, I've heard
Yeah.
him talked about as someone who can play inside or out. Based on their needs, it sounds like the interior they could use both. So maybe someone with that versatility, they like him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate because I kind of want him to fall to the Dolphins, but for the sake of this, I think he might
Who?
be the pick.
Oh,
So
Fuaga?
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I can see
Um,
that.
oh, I was thinking Washington.
Fautino.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
but
The Colts.
I feel like this is Brock Bowers' time.
You think this is Brock Bowers' son?
I do. I think.
Because I know one of their bigger losses was Raekwon Davis. I'm not sure how big of a because we haven't given any defensive tackle love yet, but yeah, I can see them giving a weapon to get the guy's draft name last year from
Anthony Richardson.
what's it called? Anthony Richardson. There you go. Sorry. Yeah, Anthony Richardson, another weapon. Why not? They've still been looking for their Dallas Clark since he's been gone. So give them their new Dallas Clark. A bit faster Dallas Clark.
This is the one spot where I'm like, because I wouldn't mind Brock Bowers making his way down to Miami, but the Colts are the team that he would need to get by, and I don't think he gets by them. I think, you see a guy like that, and he's still on the board at 15, probably should be a different draft. He might be a top 5 pick. I think you take him there.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, they need interior offensive linemen. They need linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback.
Darius Mims is huge. So, and I heard, aren't they saying that he might be able to slide inside? I know J.C. Latham. They're saying might be able to slide inside as an interior offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think a lot of the late like the tackles like kind of in this range have been kind of like they play tackle, but they're probably more of a interior guy.
Mhm.
I think even Fuaga, same kind of thing. So I with any of those three, slotting in there.
I think Fuaga there.
Okay. Jaguars.
All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like every year they need wide receivers.
I feel like they don't I mean they just signed Gabe Davis, who, love him from UCF, but he's been a little bit shaky in his NFL career. Great highs, but then, low lows too. They lost Calvin Ridley.
True.
I think they could go wide receiver. I mean, Brian
Yeah.
Thomas Jr. at this point is a reasonable pick. But I think they also, you
Hmm.
know, I think they've struggled defensively, over the past few years. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they go.
They could go cornerback edge or defensive pocket.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
uh, Mitchell from Toledo is the pick here.
Okay. Yeah, they seem to get scored on a lot, right? Like they have to outgun teams. So yeah, their defense needs some help there.
The
All right, since it's Cincy,
Now this is a interesting one. I think they lost one of their defensive tackles. I wouldn't be surprised if they went in that direction.
Sheldon Rankins. They've lost Sheldon Rankins and they lost. Oh no, sorry, they picked up Sheldon Rankins. They lost their cornerback. They lost Jonah Williams. That's a big loss. Their offensive tackle. DJ Reader, their defensive tackle, and they lost Joe Mixon. It's a little early for the running backs right now,
Yeah,
but I could see them picking a running back up later.
yeah,
Obviously.
this is a bad running back class too.
Oh, they picked up Zach Moss. They picked up Zach Moss. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I'm between,
and they picked up Trent Brown,
yeah, so they probably won't
offensive
go
tackle. They picked up.
tackle. I'm between giving them defensive tackle, either I think the one I've seen more often go higher is Byron Murphy. I
Yeah,
could see him going there.
I could see
I
that.
could see them going wide receiver, with T. Higgins wanting to be traded. Um, but I think Brian Murphy's the more realistic pick here, and trying
Yeah,
to figure it out with T, and hopefully, come into a long-term deal with him.
everybody keeps thinking that Minnesota is going to trade Justin Jefferson to because imagine that the old LSU boys all together.
That would be
That'd be
wild.
wild.
Um, okay, 19. We've got
See,
LA
LA,
Rams.
they need
They need a
a
cornerback.
pass
They
rush.
need edge. It seems like they need a lot of players on defense.
I they drafted a good defensive tackle last year, and they got one good edge. Remember the rookie? I think it was an edge and a defensive tackle that led the NFL, the rookies in sacks. That's what I was seeing the other day.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I mean, obviously, when you lose Aaron Donald, that
that hurts.
your team takes a hit. But I see them going edge here. I could see it.
Yeah, I see Jared Verse going here.
Do you? Okay, I like that
Yeah, I
pick.
see Jared Verse going here.
Um,
Hurts me because I would like to see him fall to my Bucks, but oh well.
Same here with the Dolphins. Yeah, now you got pick number 20, Steelers. They need offensive line help. Um, I've seen a lot of mocks have them going with my guy Jackson Powers Johnson. Um, kind of
That would hurt
drafting that center to be the next Marquise Pouncey, stay there for a long time. Um,
because I see him also. Well, I was gonna say I see him going to the Eagles, but I heard the Eagles backup guy that's been backing up um, Kelsey for years. They trust him, so I could see them going Powers Johnson here. I could see them going offensive tackle as well outside the center. But yeah, just bolstering that line for Russ or for Fields. This one hurts my heart. Damn it!
yeah, hey, me too. Me too.
Especially one pick before you.
Now we got Miami
The
Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins are on the clock.
Yeah, I've seen some rumors about Xavier Worthy from Texas. I don't want it.
How much speed does one team need?
I really think that'd be a mistake. I hope they don't do that. Um, I think it's more likely that they go with either a tackle or a either a defensive tackle or somewhere on the offensive line. I also wouldn't be upset with them going more towards like a Brian Thomas Jr., someone who's got a little more like build to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
honestly, I also wouldn't be against them going edge. You see a guy like Latu fall. They've they have good edge players, but they're hurt. They could miss the beginning of the season.
You could go Shaq Barrett
I mean,
from
we have
us.
Shaq Barrett. Ultimately, I think the pick that I've seen most often, and I am kind of agreeing with it, is I think they go offensive line, and I think they go where is he? Graham Barton from
Ooh, that's another one that hurts.
Duke.
Yeah, that one hurts me as well. I wanted him for my Bucks as well. I think he fit in at center or even slide over to left guard next to Wirfs.
Next we've got the
The
Eagles.
Eagles, they need cornerback help, right?
They do. I think defensive backs in general. I think they have Darius Slay still, but he's been getting a little older. Top cornerbacks on the board. We've got oh come on.
I think Nate Wiggins is the top guy, or Kool-Aid is the top
Yeah,
guy.
Nate and Kool-Aid. I love that name. I don't know. Do you think Kool-Aid's the top, like the more highly rated guy or the more highly touted guy?
I don't know. I see Nate Wiggins there.
Yeah, we could go Wiggins. Obviously you got safety too. But I think it's more likely that
Cooper DeJean.
uh, cornerback. I'm fine with putting Nate Wiggins on the Eagles if you are.
I had seen Cooper DeJean mocked to them quite a bit as well. I wouldn't be surprised there either. And I think Cooper DeJean goes higher than people expect him to go. I don't know. I just have that feeling. But no, I'm not saying. Oh well, yeah, you could go with that. Either way, Nate Wiggins. Cooper DeJean is what I was seeing a lot of. We're back with the Vikings again, and obviously
Yeah,
they took
we gave him Penix last pick.
Michael Penix.
Um, you know, I think this makes a lot of sense for them to go, Latu, Johnny Newton, someone on that defensive line. Um, I I don't think they really need a ton of offensive players. They've got good wide receivers. You know, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Do you have any thoughts?
I'm trying to look at what they lost and what they picked up. They picked up two edges, Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard. They picked up Blake Cashman, linebacker, Sam Darnold. They picked up Aaron Jones and Shaq Griffin. They lost Kirk Cousins, obviously. Lost Donnell Hunter, and they lost DJ Wonnum, edge rusher. They lost a linebacker. It seems like they filled all their damn needs in free agency, but um, what do you think of a? I don't know. What do you think of a receiver next to Justin Jefferson? My only issue with that is like you don't have your quarterback yet. You're just kind of, you know what I mean? Do you give Justin Jefferson help on that other side, or do you? Is this your kind of down here?
I mean, they've
Oh, they
got
have
Jordan
Penix. They
Addison,
picked up
who
Penix.
was a they've got Jordan Addison, who was a
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I
they
don't
do
know
have
if I
Jordan.
would. I don't know if wide receivers move here. I mean, yeah, it's a need, but I don't think it is. I don't think.
Okay, so what do you think in defensive line or edge or?
I think defensive line makes sense, like a Johnny Newton. Um,
Yeah, he's a disruptive guy. Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys, they've lost a lot of offensive line. Jeez, they lost a lot of offensive.
I think they go offensive line, tackle specifically. Mims, Lathan makes sense. Um, I don't see them going defense here. I don't think they need it as bad as they need the offensive line. Um, what are your thoughts?
I just think they go offensive line here because they've lost what they lost their left tackle, right?
Yeah. You think Mims or Latham?
I don't know why I think I see them going with the Alabama prospect. I think either one of those guys, but I don't know why my heart says Latham.
Next, Green Bay Packers.
Didn't they lose one of their top? Yeah, they lost Darnell Savage, their safety. Um, they lost a couple of. They lost another safety. They picked up Xavier McKinney, the safety. They picked up Josh Jacobs, which I think is going to be good for them. And they picked up a Keeson Nixon cornerback. So um, I don't know why I think cornerback. Maybe a Nate Wiggins goes here.
I think that's a pretty reasonable pick. Now we got your Bucks.
You know what? I wasn't trying to. Sorry, I'm looking at my laptop. Wasn't trying to will this into existence, so I tried to keep an open mind here. And let you, like, kind of not let me be a homer. But if Latu fell to us, and reasonable to think he could with the, neck injury, I was seeing that as very similar to Leighton Vander Esch. Hopefully nobody watches this beforehand. We drop his stock or anything unless it's to us. But yeah, that there may be some concern there, but we need pass rush help like nobody's business, and to get the most polished guy. I don't think he has the most upside of all the guys. That would probably be that may be a Chop Robinson, but Chop has to develop. But the ceiling's much higher and lower floor also. But I think Liao getting him for the Bucks, I'll just be ecstatic.
Yeah, I think I've heard great things about him. I wouldn't be against the Dolphins taking him, so I think that's a good fit there. Biggest need, and it's a great value pick too. I mean, he was 13th ranked prospect according to Pro Football Network, and you guys got him at 26. Um, Now back to the Cardinals. They're up again. They got the
I
wide
don't.
receiver the first time around.
I'm looking at what they lost. They lost Hollywood Brown and Rondell Moore and defensive tackle, and they picked up. They never really picked up another wide receiver in free agency. So could they double up wide receiver here? Maybe. Would that be wise? Probably not. I don't know. What do you think here?
I've never seen a team pick two wide receivers in the same round. In the first round.
It's a bold strategy,
You know,
Patton.
yeah. I mean, do they
Um,
need it? Probably. I personally see them. They've got a defensive minded coach, Jonathan Gannon. I see them going more defense here. Job Robinson potentially makes.
that's what I was thinking. For some reason I think Chuck Robinson. Yeah, I don't know.
I think if you've got a
Um,
defensive minded coach, someone who thinks, they can get the most out of him, especially being kind of that more raw prospect, but
mhm.
you saw what happened with a guy like Micah Parsons, same thing, Penn State guy ends up being, freaking beast. So I think that's pretty reasonable.
I think this is the Bills fans are ecstatic here because they get the next best wide receiver, and maybe a guy that could have been up after the Malik Neighbors because he's officially is he the third receiver off the board or we picked another receiver?
Fourth because of
He's the fourth
O'Doul's.
one off the board.
Yep.
Oh, dudes, yeah, Roman. Yeah, I think they're ecstatic here. I mean, God, if a team needs a wide receiver, I mean, it's the Bills. If they can't get one of these top guys, they may have to trade up because I mean they need wide receivers badly.
And then now you got
Um,
Detroit.
the team that put us out of the playoffs last year. They lost their safety. Um, this could have been a place I think for Cooper DeJean potentially. I could see he seems like a Detroit player, doesn't he? Like a gritty.
I mean, I could see someone like Kool-Aid, he's fallen a little bit. I could see him going here. I definitely think they go defensive side of the ball. I know, wide receiver is kind of a need for them, but they've still got Amon Ra. I don't think they necessarily go with either the Texas guys over. the top defensive guy left on the board, Kool-Aid, or looking at who else. I mean, um, there's some other guys here, but yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards Kool-Aid. Any thoughts on that?
Okay. No, yeah, cornerback. They could go cornerback here. They picked up Carlton Davis, but I think they still need another cornerback. Um,
Ravens.
I always feel like Baltimore needs wide receivers too, right? Like they're that team that always seems to lack
Yeah,
weapons.
especially with Flowers getting.
They also need linebacker though. They lost Patrick Queen.
Yeah, I mean, linebacker's not listed here as one of their needs, but I could see them going with another linebacker. Obviously, they still have Roquan Smith as a middle linebacker, so maybe they think um, he's good enough to carry that load. But
They they lost a lot, to be honest. Like they lost Patrick Queen, they lost Geno Stone, safety. They lost offensive guard John Simpson, cornerback Ronald Darby. I'm not sure if he was starting. Wide receiver Devin Duvernay, Gus Edwards, running back, offensive tackle Morgan Moses, and offensive guard Kevin Zeitler. And then they only picked up offensive tackle Josh Jones, and they picked up obviously Derrick Henry.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against giving them one of these wide receivers, giving them offensive tackle. I mean, there's a bunch of offensive tackles listed near the top. Um, you know, uh,
What's the top rated guy right now?
I kind of think they go wide receiver.
Because what
They lost Odell, they lost Duvernay, and Flowers is in his own legal troubles right now.
do you think they go speed receiver, or do you think they go like a route runner like Keelan Coleman, bigger body, wide frame guy?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, they have a history.
Because they Hollywood Brown, that's what I'm thinking. They lost him. You know what I mean? Why not pick up a faster
Yeah,
Hollywood
I
Brown?
could see them going worthy. I mean, they have a history with drafting Hollywood Brown. They drafted Rashad Perryman out of UCF back in the day when, he was the guy who apparently
Oh
ran the
yeah.
fastest 40. So I could see them going worthy here.
You know who probably be upset would be the Chiefs because you keep hearing them trying to replace, you know,
And I mean,
yeah,
if you're the
Tyreek Hill.
Ravens and you can
So
take a guy that the Chiefs potentially want, it's not a
like,
bad pick. 49ers. I think they definitely go.
Patrick Patrick Mahomes is punching the air right now.
I think they definitely go
Um,
tackle. What about you?
Yeah, you know what? I hear that they're having some issues with Brandon Ayuk in contract negotiations. Not sure if they sort that out. So I could see potentially them going to maybe like a Keon Coleman. But yeah, I agreed. Offensive tackle here.
Top guy, Mims.
Yep, I think they get a potential based on rankings steal there. The Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like they always need some wide receivers as well. But Keon Coleman their style of receiver. I mean,
I think Keon Coleman falls to round
Adonai.
two. I don't think, I think
Yeah.
the Chiefs tend to like speedy guys, a little bit more route running,
Hmm.
guys who can find a way to get open and, let Patrick Mahomes make so much time. I think you find someone who can get open. So
I was gonna say I didn't realize I forgot they picked up Hollywood Brown.
they did, yeah. But I mean, with Rasheed Rice and his legal troubles,
Yeah,
um, I could see them still going wide receiver here just in case. So I think Adonai Mitchell makes sense. Looking at other wide receivers here, you got, come on, Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey.
one of the more fun names in the draft. Xavier Leggett is a beast as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty deep draft as far as the wide receivers go.
Yeah,
Um, we've went pretty chalk as far as, there hasn't been any wild out of left field picks. I don't know. What do you think about like them going with someone like Leggett?
I could see that happen. What's his profile there? 6'1", 221. Can teleport. That's a nice tool in your arsenal. I don't know why. Like Xavier, like I feel like he's gonna go way higher than everybody's ranking it. I mean, size speed guy.
I think him being at 51 is low. I'd say he's a very early second round, if not late first round pick. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think Leggett. I mean, out of the wide receivers that are left, I mean, Adonai Mitchell's good. Um, I've heard good things about McConkey, but I think Leggett is one of the more dangerous ones. And the Chiefs have a tendency to draft good wide receivers.
It's a scary proposition, but yeah, I could see it.
So yeah, that should be it. So, um, here, let's
If
see
you,
full results.
let's get a picture, or if you get a picture of it when we get off, we can compare ourselves to draft night. Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed this. I wish we would have done this last year, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a good time. Yeah, if anyone who's watching this, let us know what you think. If we took a pick for your team and you think it was horrible, then sorry, but that's who they're picking.
Comment about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, comment about if you like the pick or hate it. Just put it in the comments.
yeah. Ricky and I are psychic, so this is definitely how the draft is going. We're definitely getting exactly who won it. Um,
If you're betting, if you're a better, we're not saying to put your money on this, but we are saying put your money on this. Yeah, I mean, we're Extropian, we're building technology for the future, so we went to the future, built our Extropian devices, our technology, our platform, and we just happen to come back for we come back every year for the draft and sporting events, and then return back to the future. But yeah, we're bringing the technology from the future here uh, to the current time, and same thing with the draft. So we've seen this. Um, Happy with your Dolphins pick?
Yeah, I am. I think if they can get someone to help out on the offensive line or get someone, I wouldn't be against them going Brian Thomas Jr., get that third wide receiver, fits in with their offense. Also taking him away from the Bills would be wonderful, you know. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I wouldn't be against, I think there's a bunch of guys that for my team, for the Dolphins, I like it at that 21 spot. Um, I think defensive tackle could be a pick there. I think edge rusher could be a pick because of the injuries. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that they don't take someone like I personally just don't hope they don't take Xavier Worthy. That's like the only guy I don't want. We have too much speed. I mean, we don't have too much speed. I like the amount of speed we have. We don't need more speed. We need, if we're going to take a receiver, take someone who's more of a possession receiver, move the chains kind of guy. We don't need four or five guys that can run straight really fast. We already have enough of that. So, how about you? Are you happy with the Bucks pick? I think I already know the answer to that, but
I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. I'll be jumping, shouting in the streets if we just need pass rush. I'm so tired of seeing us have to blitz to get pressure on the quarterback, or us having to run something exotic to get I'm really pumped if we can add to that line with Kalijah Cansey, with Yaya Diaby. Like I feel like we'd have a really nice young core. I wouldn't mind us going defensive tackle either, and like because we need that in our 3-4. We need that third um, defensive tackle. Um, or we can go corner as well because we lost Carlton Davis. I'm not 100% sold on the backup that's taking his place. Name escapes me right now, but yeah, we could go corner. I really love Jackson Powers Johnson to fall to us because we need that Ryan Jensen enforcer. Or and then later on get a guard, like a mauling guard, because we just need our left guard needs to be replaced. Um, but yeah, no, I'd be through the moon if it was Jared Verse, if he happened to fall, or Liatu, or I don't think Dallas Turner would, but I don't. I want to, and I hate to do this because you could come back and bite you in the ass later. But Chop Robinson, I'm not sold on him. He doesn't seem to have many pass rush moves. He's like he reminds me of Joe Triangle Sharinka we have now. We just use the speed to get around, overruns to play, and yeah. So I'd be through the I'd be on cloud nine. I can't even think of a superlative I want to use because I'd be so happy. But yeah, no, this was fun, and like we said, comment about your team if you like the picks, if you don't. You know, just some of the fun things that we do at Extropian, sports focused sports tech company building for the future. And yeah, we see ourselves being a part of the NFL draft process in the future, like the combine and stuff. So that being said, for Sean, for myself, see you next week. Hopefully, you guys get what you want for your teams. Peace.